Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It's Tuesday, it's the 6th of August. David Ornstein has sent out a tweet, and everyone's gone absolutely bananas. He's absolutely said fuck all in the tweet, but why not? This is how we roll now. As you know, this channel don't pretend to know anything, but when someone says something, we'll have a little chat about it. I'm just delighted to be joined by Kev, by Ashley, and by Chris, and I'm going to try my best to make this show 45 minutes, which you know means an hour and 10. So strap yourselves in. Kev, I'll come to you first. The wheels are starting to move. Someone's thrown a bit of WD-40 on the wheels of this transfer window, and it looks like Julian Alvarez is off to Atletico Madrid for £81 million. There's a bit of movement going on. We get on to Liverpool in a bit, but does that Alvarez thing kick off things? And you know yourself, one kicks off the other. That's how it usually rolls.
I hope so. Look, credit where it's due. It's a hell of a flip for Man City, first and foremost. They brought him in for relatively low fee, and they're going to get a nice profit out of it. And it leaves a hole in their squad, a big hole, because Julian Alvarez played quite a bit of football last season. So it's something that they're going to have to address in the summer. And it'll be interesting to see which way they go. But hopefully, that should be the one that kicks off a couple. Conor Gallagher as well. That one is still up in the air, apparently. The move from Chelsea to Atletico.
Do you know what I seen on that?
Not done yet.
And let's have a nice time.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I seen this thing where Conor Gallagher was like, Atletico Madrid set a time limit on Conor Gallagher to make his decision, and he made that decision with 1 minute to spare. And I was like, hold on, was he sitting in a fucking room with one of these digital clocks that counts, the red ones, and just count down, boom, 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 and you can hear his heartbeat and shit. So when is the minute up? Is it a really long fucking minute if it's still up in the air?
It's, to me, a deal. If you were the buying club, if you're a fan of a buying club and a player was like that, acting like that, I'd be running a mile. I'd be running a mile for £34 million. That's a serious... I mean, look, people got lost a run of themselves last summer with £100 million transfers. £34 million is a chunk of change, in any market. So to have a player dilly-dallying around like he is over a move to what is a club who are going to be challenging potentially for La Liga title, potentially could go deep in Europe. It's mind-boggling to me, but it just signals, does he really want to leave the UK? Does he want to leave England? Probably not.
Well, if he
Ideally, he'd love to stay at Chelsea.
Well, if he doesn't, he just says to Chelsea, I'm not going there. Thanks very much. I'll take my money every week. I've 2 years left on my deal, and I'll stay here if I have to.
And that's the question, isn't it? Does he have that character in him? Is he that type of character to want to just stay and take a wage? I don't think he is.
But you see, that's not the thing is, right? He can go with that line, but Chelsea can't. So Chelsea will have to turn around and go, right, we're going to have to take... They don't want to take 34 million off a UK-based team. But, do you know what?
Did you see the picture? Did you see the picture going around of the Chelsea squad?
Yeah,
the full Chelsea.
Couldn't fit them all on the bleeding page, for fuck's sake. You had to buy it in 4K and stick on an 80-inch fucking TV just to see it. It was phenomenal.
If anyone, it's literally like you used to get your Sunday paper and you double it out. It was a pull-out spread on its own.
Fucking huge it was. They had to print it and put it on the side of a building for people to access. Chris, you're having a lovely time here now, acting the bollocks, I say, with 2230 emoji eyes, Spanish player incoming, all this sort of or La Liga player incoming. But in all seriousness, this sort of Alvarez stuff that happens. Conor Gallagher looks like, we don't know. When the minute is up, we'll know what's happening with Conor Gallagher. But it's starting to move. It's starting to just grease itself a little bit. I seen a thing earlier with Mark Goldbridge saying that Manchester United are trying to sign Sander Berg off Sheffield United. Yeah. And I was like, this is not genuine. I thought this is an AI trick someone's doing on me here, but it's genuine, is it?
Yeah, it's genuine. I think it's in the Telegraph, the Telegraph or something like that. They're reporting it's an alternative because they don't want to pay the fee for Ugarte. I think they're about 10-15 million apart, and they don't want to go any higher.
Okay.
So which means they'll probably pay an extra 20 million in about 6 weeks' time. You know what they're like. I have a good fun. Listen, I'm sure at some point Liverpool will sign players. I mean, some of the journalistic insider info was hilarious because Liverpool are working behind the scenes. I'm assured Liverpool will sign somebody. We think it'll be a midfielder and probably a forward.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My favourite line from today was, they've now identified a target. As if the target committed some sort of crime. They weren't too sure who it was, right? And they had to put like a load of players up in a lineup and bring Arne Slot to come in and go, yeah, it was him. It was him. And they go, aha, we've identified the guy. Like,
I'm telling you.
Like, seriously.
It's the Excel spreadsheet going green. They went, it's gone green. Go for him. That's him.
It's like again, I have to caveat this way. Liverpool are going to sign a couple of players, right, in my opinion, right? But honestly, like this thing where Liverpool have now identified a target. As if they were sitting around for fucking 6 weeks and Richard Hughes ringing Arne Slot and going, what do you reckon? Any targets? No, I haven't thought of anyone yet. Right, go on, I'll ring you tomorrow. And then Arne Slot rings him the next day and says, anything? No, I haven't thought of anything either. Right, go on, listen. Look, have a nice weekend. I'll ring you Monday. And then one of them rang the other and went, I have it. I fucking have it. I know who we should go for. Like, it's deplorable, the stuff that's coming out. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, I know the joke's been done to death, but just for the few, could they re-sign Henderson? Because it'd just be fucking funny.
No, they can't. No. Listen, I don't mind people getting annoyed. I'm all with people if they get annoyed at September the 4th and we don't have signed anyone. But honestly, like all this fucking, can we sign fucking Jordan Henderson back? Like, that's over the line. You've gone over the line with that one. No is the fucking answer. Actually, we're all trying to.
I love the summer.
We're all trying to guess now who the player might be, if there is a player, or who the target they've identified. Arne Slot and Richard Hughes didn't know anything about him until today, but they've identified him now. Or they were probably watching videos and going, he's a really good player. What's his name? Having a fucking clue. And it took them weeks to find his name. And now they found his name. But everyone's trying to guess. So I'm going to give us all a go at this. Actually, I personally think the pre-season has gone really well. I think the way the midfield has played, attacking-wise, has gone really well. But when I look at it, both playing out from the back and a little bit of defensive work when the other team has the ball, I think we're a little bit shy. And I think Endo's limitations have been exposed, I think, in what he can't do very, very well, and the way we want to play just doesn't marry up with each other. So I've come around to, we do need somebody in that position. But come on, I'll give you the first go. Start throwing some names that maybe you just like to see.
I mean, I think I have three, and I mean, it's not rocket science. They're out there. I think it's Ederson off of Atalanta. I think it's Zubimendi, who's kind of like the flavor of the month right now after his stellar showing at the Euros. And then I think it's Varela, who is the more kind of defensive option. Those three all kind of fit that, 25-year-old-ish age bracket. I think they all have a pretty sizable chunk of professional appearances to go by, and they all kind of offer something a little bit different from one another. And I think the reason I wrote those three down is because I'm still not quite 100% sure what Slot wants to do with this third midfielder. I don't know if he was putting our forward-thinking midfielders like Szoboszlai and Gravenberch in there to test them, or if he actually wants like an 8/6 in that spot. I don't know if with different personnel that midfield looks a little bit differently and he goes sort of more traditional 6. So those are the three names that I'm going to throw out there. Like I said, it's not breaking news or anything, but those are the ones that I have my eye on.
Well, so far the four of us have been a disgrace. We haven't brought any breaking news. We haven't told you for definite we're signing this player or that player. But Kev, I like the three names you've given, by the way. I will throw the Dutch fella from AC Milan into the mix. I don't know why he came into my head earlier, but I'm going to throw him in. Is it Reinders or Reinders?
Reinders.
But Kev, me and you were chatting about this last week. Arguing, I think, probably is the better word on the show. And that's just part of the course.
Strong discussion.
Yeah. When you talk about Ederson, isn't it, from Atlanta? You have Varela that you're talking about, and you're talking about Zubamendi. You know, when you're looking at them players, they are different in the things they do. You know, some of them are they like breaking things up. Some of them like taking things over. Some of them are good with their, facing their own goal, that sort of thing. Again, it comes down to what Arne Slot wants. What if he's bringing this midfielder in? What does he see him doing? And I'm going to say it again, Kev. I'm hoping they bring someone in that's really good facing their own goal. That's one. And two, somebody that sees danger and snuffs it out. I think if you can find a player that can do that, and I know that's an awful lot, if you can find a player that does that and marry it in with what else we have there, whether that's deep on his own, double pivot, whatever the fuck you want to call it, if you can find somebody that can do that, all right, I think the rest of this midfield are going to run amok over people. They're going to run all over people. And when you throw Elliott and you throw Salah and you throw Jota, Nunez, Diaz, whoever it is, if you get someone like that, Kev, I just think when we done it right against these teams in pre-season, the whole pitch opened up where you're going, there's definitely not 22 players in this pitch because there's too much space. Liverpool have done it. How they've done it, but there's way too much space. What names have you got in your head? And is that the sort of player? Am I talking nonsense, basically?
No, I said it last year and I'll stick by what I said. I want to see a footballer, first and foremost. Someone who's comfortable on the ball, keeps it simple, takes the ball under pressure, and doesn't give it away. If you're already capable of doing that as a midfield player, you're going to have a bit of a defensive head on you anyway. Zubamendi would be perfect if you could get him out of Spain. Big if. Reinders did himself no harm whatsoever in the Euros. Whenever I watch the Dutch play, he's really comfortable on the ball. He looks after the ball, and he's got a decent range of passing. And he's a typical Dutch midfielder. He's the irony is I don't think he'd have been in the squad if De Jong was fit. So it could just be the stars aligned for him, and he could be available at a reasonable fee. You wouldn't know. One I came across today, I was just said it before the show. He's currently with Spain at the Olympics, and he's at Atletico Madrid. A young fella named Pablo Barrios, 21 years of age, plays in a 6-6 for Spain, plays central midfield for Atletico Madrid. Last season was his first full season at Atletico, and he played some 45 games. And if you're coming through, that's Atletico's setup in central midfield, playing that many games, you're going to have a bit about you. You're going to be aggressive, and you're going to be good on the ball. And that's the kind of thing would have me looking. Is he the Zubamendi before he became Zubamendi type of thing? Is that the type of player that Liverpool would look at rather than look for the ready-made player? Would they look for someone like a Pablo Barrios who can come in at 21 and looks to have an awful lot about him and someone who can kick on and really develop? He's really highly rated by the Atletico Madrid fans as well. Just out of morbid curiosity, I put his name in into Twitter and just done a search of Atletico fans, just reading what they were saying about him. They're raving about him. They couldn't wait to see him linking up with Julian Alvarez. It was like wet dream type of stuff. So if the Athletic fans are really hot on this kid, it would make you think, I wonder if it's possible to get him out of there. His transfer market value something like around 30 million, but odds are you could probably get him out for, not much more than that, maybe 50. Another one would be really interesting to test would be Barcelona. After the money they're looking to spend on Olmo and the fact they don't have much money. Yeah, they don't have much more money to play with. They have a really good young setup. Could you tempt them into selling Pedri? Granted, the kid he'd be a huge gamble. He's had injury problems for the last year, and he was taken out of the Euros with a ligament injury that ruled him out until probably the end of this month. But he's undoubted pure quality. He is one of the top midfielders in the world, and I wonder if you could prize him or Gavi out of Barcelona. Is he something that you could test the waters with? If you're thinking of that type of central midfielder who can take the ball in tight areas and work possession, you're really looking at La Liga because that's their bread and butter type of football. That's why I'd shy away from the Italian league, because it's not their game. And it hasn't been their game for a long time. I don't know enough about the kid playing in Portugal. I genuinely don't. I don't watch Portuguese football. Haven't come across for a lot whatsoever. But at 60 million euro, they're asking for him. And I wouldn't be too convinced on that. It's easy to look good in that league. And it's a big jump to come from that league to the Premier League. I don't know. I'd be more comfortable looking at a player from the Bundesliga or La Liga rather than Portugal, to be honest.
We all seem to be mentioning these players, and Chris, I'm going to let you throw one or two at me if you want. But we're all looking at these players, they're 21, 22, 23. Is there an argument here where they go in and go for someone that's 26, 27, 28 and say to themselves, I'm going to bring someone in here and they're going to go in and they're going to do 1, 2, 3 seasons for me, and I'm looking at Bajcetic coming through. I'm picking up, a player in 18 months' time that's the successor to this guy we're bringing in now. We all seem to be going for younger players, Chris, and maybe that's because Liverpool like to do that. Liverpool like to go in at that kind of age range, and if it really happens for them, we try to keep them. If it happens for them to a point, and you can move them on then because you're trying to get better, you can flip them for good money. Is there an argument there, Chris? Or are you just going to give me 2 more players that are 14 and 15 years of age?
I'll probably just give you 2 more younger players. I understand what you're saying, though, because if you look at the midfield, it's low 20s or there's a couple of experienced ones at the opposite end. There's nothing in the middle. So having that link age would be quite handy. It's just who that age range is realistically available. And I think that's the reason why we keep saying the same names. I think it's the same players that we know are available because of a release clause, or we have the inklings from press are clubs would be willing to sell them. I can't really think of it outside the ones that Ashley and Kev have mentioned. There aren't anywhere else that I could think of, apart from me making joke ones or just saying let's get some of the lads from Real Madrid. But if we're being realistic, it probably is a Zubimendi, a Varela, someone of that ilk, or maybe somebody from that he's worked with before in the Dutch league. But the way they're talking is Liverpool's a high bar, what they've got, and it's a high squad. I think that's a bit of a reality check for some of our fan bases that the squad isn't in, it needs tweaks. It doesn't need major overhaul. So I'm expecting it to be and probably like a name, as in like people have heard of it, go, oh wow, a bit of a sit up, but that's an interesting signing. That's a good signing. I can't see it being like some 18-year-old we haven't heard of.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the thing for me here is that when it comes to, say, centre backs, right, we're looking at we're like praising Jarell Quanta as much as we possibly can, and rightly so. We're looking at Virgil van Dijk and we're saying if we can get him to extend his deal, he's a great leader. He's nowhere near finished. That's great. We're looking at Kanate and we're saying to ourselves, right, if he can stay fit, what an asset. And then we're saying to ourselves, what happens with Joe Gomez? And when it comes to, you've quite a bit of scope when you're going in for your centre half as to what way you want to do this. Do you want to be a blockbuster? Do you want to be a young guy that comes in to, takes Matip's spot in the squad but pushes, say, Gomez up a rung? Or do you want somebody to bring someone in and go, right, no, he's not a blockbuster, but he's not a really young lad, but he's somewhere in between that's going to challenge and maybe look to succeed Van Dijk, whatever. But there's a lot of scope, is what I'm saying. I just think, from what I've seen from the football Liverpool are trying to play, and from what he has at his disposal, I think he's fantastic players at his disposal. But I think the scope for what you're looking for in this midfield signing is quite narrow. It's quite a narrow scope. I don't think you can go out and go, oh, maybe he can do this. It feels like a very significant signing early on in what he's trying to do. Just from what I've watched, and I'm not saying players can't do a job here or there, but if he really wants to nail something early, he goes out and he gets a play and you go, bang, that fella plays in your midfield every week. He's fantastic. I can put McAllister beside him. I can put him there in his own and put these two guys ahead of him. And he's just phenomenal. And I think that's where the scope is narrowing. And maybe Liverpool, when they say these things about, quality and, what we have and what we're looking to do, they're saying that, but maybe they're thinking to themselves, this is a really fucking important one. This isn't one you just add into the numbers and he's good in that area. That's what it feels like to me. When you're all talking about Barcelona there, Frenkie de Jong is the option. The only problem with Frenkie de Jong is they gave him about 600 grand a week, you know, and they tried to sell him 2 seasons ago and he just went, fuck off. You know what I mean? I'm 4 years left of my deal. I'm earning 600 grand a week here. I am going nowhere. And then they were trying to tell him he wouldn't get paid. And he was like, yeah, right, let's see how that rolls. He's the actual outstanding candidate, if you think about it, right?
Joshua Kimmich is another one.
Well, Kimmich maybe, yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you're looking for somebody that's that perfect age, plays that deep, really comfortable on the ball, really good at popping passes off, finding angles, and freeing up your midfield, Frenkie de Jong is the one. Because if you go back to the Ajax team, he was the one that freed up the likes of not Gravenberch, the guy that's gone off from United. He was fucking deadly before he went to United.
Van der Beek.
Yeah.
Van der Beek.
Yeah, he freed him up because he played around the back and then went, bang, here you go. There's loads of grass in front of you. The problem with him is that wage is just a killer. Now, I don't know if Liverpool can work a deal where they say to him, listen, we're paying this amount for you. We will pay off, you know, a year of your contract or whatever it might be. But a year of his fucking contract is colossal money. Like, it's Frenkie de Jong's the outstanding candidate when you actually think about it, but the wages is colossal. Unless Frenkie de Jong is willing to go, listen, I'm willing to take what Liverpool are offering because I don't like where I am at Barcelona. They fuck me around every summer. I go into Liverpool. This project looks great. I'm going to play. I think that might be the one. But listen,
he's 2 years left in his deal.
Yeah.
He's out with an ankle injury at the minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, no doubt about it, Frenkie de Jong would be the quintessential perfect central midfielder. But realistically, I don't think any club
are going to allow. Ashley says a base salary of €721,000 a week.
Yeah, I honestly don't see any club allowing that much money to leave their club, leave football every week on that kind of deal. It's obscene that Barcelona even put him on that wages, and I hope they're made to suffer for the next 2 years, and they have to pay every single cent of it.
So he walks away
from nothing. But that's 25 million a year they're paying him.
Yeah, €37.5 million a year. Fuck it out.
Mm-hmm. So
70 million to buy his contract though.
Well, yeah, you could. You could buy his contract out. 70 million quid.
Because how old's Young now?
I'm going to say
27.
I was going to say 27.
Because there are rules around, if you're a certain age, you can't actually buy out your contract when you're in the last 2 years or so.
And then you could treat him as a free signing, but you'd automatically you'd have to make him the club's top earner. And how many backs is that going to put out?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, footballing wise, I think he's the ideal candidate.
Footballing wise, yeah. I think
money wise, it's
Barella would be another one that would be an ideal box-to-box centre mid. Kimmich, ideal, perfect, world-class centre mid. But I honestly think the way that Edwards has worked in the past, the way Hughes has worked in the past, they're looking for the next Joshua Kimmich. They're looking for the next Nicola Barella. And they're looking to try to benefit that if we need to sell that player, we can. If we want to keep that player, we're ready-made for a decade. And I think we're going back to that. And part of me is like, yeah, I'm happy with that.
I would say, Ashley, we were talking. Me and Shawnee were talking on Sunday night about the breaking news about some guy from Argentina. I can't remember his name anymore. Soler, plays for Lanús, Paraguayan born. If you look up his Wikipedia, he signed for Liverpool already on the 4th of August for £12.1 million, which was great. But we were looking at that on Sunday night and we're kind of going, all right, that's a bit of a weird one. But then it looks like Chambers, isn't it? Chambers is off to Wigan.
Wigan, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's done, confirmed or whatever, but I think he might have been there last season. But he's going back to Wigan for what looks like a season-long loan. And I know that's not massive movement at left back, but we're starting to see, actually, just that little bit of move, just a little bit. Like, they're only home. They arrive home on Sunday afternoon, and by what is it, Tuesday morning, there's a player going out on loan, the sort of way. So that's how quick things can happen. Just on the Liverpool players that you've seen over the tour and watched them in the 3 games, is there more of these loans coming? Or do you think Liverpool or we're going to end up waiting until the end of the window where Liverpool decide no more loans, but we've got a good deal on this guy, we're going to let him go? Because there's quite a few names there you could bandy around for that sort of area, that's what might happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, there's youngsters there that, I think Owen goes back out on loan, unless a significant offer comes in. I think players like McConnell, who we didn't see, goes out on loan. I think Bobby Clark probably goes out on loan unless we get a substantial fee in for him. I think the ones that are iffy are Carvalho and Vanderberg. I think if those come in with a significant chunk of change, they get sent out permanently. I think they're the ones that are on the cusp of like being done. I think Ben Doak is another one that could go on loan. I think he needs to find the right club that's going to match up with what we want from our winger and give him game time. So yeah, there's plenty of players there that are going to be moving. I think with the players coming in, like so many of them, they almost feel like Goldilocks players because we're very blessed at this moment to have an academy that is doing so well. We kind of have a good chunk of players that are sort of on that up and coming place. So the idea of buying project players, I like it, and I'm all for, upgrading the academy, and that's kind of what this left back feels like, or that, the link to the left back. I have no idea if it's actually valid. But I do think when we're talking about specifically the center back position and specifically the 6th position, I don't think we can afford a project. I think we have that already in Kwanzaa a little bit, who's more of the finished article. And if we wanted a project center back, we'd go with Vanderberg. And I think we've got Baccetic, who is our project 6. Yeah. So what we need is the person that's between Baccetic and Endo, somewhere right in that little middle Goldilocks zone. And that's, I think, what's making it so hard for them to nail down a target.
Yeah, I'm fully with you. That's what I was saying. The scope that's there just narrows for me every time I watch Liverpool play. If Liverpool were a bit more direct in what they were doing from the back, I would say quite a wide scope. Endo with a bit more ability on the ball. But when I'm watching, I'm going, no, it's so far removed from Endo. And if they keep them in the squad, they keep them in the squad for certain scenarios and certain games, fine. Especially when they do this thing where they seem to retreat and say, right, come and beat us, and Endo can fit in there because it's all about nicking in, winning ball, the sort of way. But I do think it's narrowed right down. And then, you look at Owen Beck, Celtic have been heavily linked with him. And Celtic may have money to spend fairly soon because Brighton apparently are going to go in with a massive bid for Matt O'Reilly. Again, I think Brighton are doing some good business there if they do get him. I think he just looks a fantastic footballer to me, and I don't really care if he plays for Celtic. I've watched him in the Champions League for Celtic against good sides, and he's been really good. So Brighton, I think, are doing a good deal there. So, but if they get 20 million for him, that'd be a big deal for Celtic. But they'll probably get about 10 of that back to spend. That's how Celtic work. Beck might be one of those that are interested. Chambers going on loan, then that leaves you really with, this link from in Argentina. Yeah, I have got Tsimikas, you have got Robertson. Maybe he leaves that another season before he makes it, presses a button on it. But if he leaves it for another season and presses a button on it, you're going from somebody that can learn for a year and maybe take over to somebody that comes in and really has to go and challenge. And to go and challenge Andy Robertson and even Tsimikas to a point, you have to be really good. And you have to be on it from day one. So the centre half stuff is it's a curious one for me. It's probably the most curious one when you see those links. Kev, we're seeing these players, and I think it was actually mentioned McConnell, Bobby Clark, one or two others. If they're going to be loaned, you'd expect them to go quite quick on the loan front. If they hang on a little bit longer, i.e. the likes of, say, even a Fabio Carvalho, it's moving towards they're staying or they're just waiting for the right price to get rid.
I think one thing to look out for is results in the Champions League qualifying rounds. That could free up money for Celtic or Rangers if they go deeper, if they can get into the knockout phase proper. Same with some European clubs that they might take a look at a player towards the end of the window. I think we wouldn't be in any mad rush. We've seen today with Luke Chambers. It looks like the club have no problem letting players go to Wigan. They like the setup there. It's close to Liverpool as well. I think they'll look for the right club if it's going to be loans, and if it's going to be a sale, like the Southampton bid for Carvalho. If Southampton come back in with an improved offer, maybe it's one they'll look at. But in fairness, Carvalho did himself no harm on that pre-season, and depending on how he trained and his attitude around it, same with Sepp van den Berg. Depending on how he trained and what the manager thinks, it ultimately is going to be down to him whether to stick or twist. And we'll see how it goes. But I think it'll be those kind of decisions are going to be made towards the end of a window when clubs realise exactly the type of money they've got available to them and who they want to go for. But I think they'll have options. They won't be short of player. Another one could be Leeds. If Leeds are looking to bring in a proven player who they know that can do a job in the Championship, having got money in from some good sales and have the backing of Red Bull now, that they could be looking to seriously invest in young talent. And Carvalho could be that one for them. Who knows?
The thing is, I was listening to the Anfield rap after the United game, and they were talking about Ben Doak, and I think they made a really good point. We always want to find the right move for them, and when it came to Ben Doak, they made the point, you probably want to send him somewhere where he's that team's best attacker. He's not a guy that's sitting on the bench coming on making impacts. Chris, do we have quite a few players like that now? Do we have quite a few players that, in years gone by, you would send them out for loan, we have this thing where we have to want guaranteeing game time for them, or the other club gets fined, or the thing goes back, the player goes back. But are we at the stage now where we send out these players on loan and it's kind of like, no, he has to play every week. He's going to be our best player. Is that the level of loan we have to look for these players? Because they're still Liverpool players. People seem to forget them when we send them on loan. He's gone on loan. He's gone on loan again. We have to... There's quite a few players here now, I think, in the likes of Bobby Clark, McConnell, even a Ben Doak. Even if you send the left back, his name constantly goes out on my head. Who was linked with Celtic a minute ago. Beck. Yeah, even if you send him, you have to send them to these things where you go, he is going to be forced to him. End of story.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, because then you get the worth out of them. Or I think we've got some players who I think could be good rotation options for us, but I think could be used as make weights in other deals. So an example is if Liverpool do get a deal done for Anthony Gordon, wouldn't surprise me if Carvalho went the other way as a bit of a sweetener. Also for Carvalho, that would be a good move for him because he would get regular football. Kev's getting really excited over this idea.
No, he's not. He's getting excited because Kelly Harrington has just won a gold medal for Ireland in the boxing. So okay. She's retiring as a double gold medalist for Ireland.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good.
So come on.
Cool. But yeah, that's what I think we're going to do. I think it's why some are being held off because I do think some might be used to make weights in other deals, to soften, to sweeten the deal. So I think Carvalho is going to get used as a make weight for one of the signings we make. That wouldn't surprise me.
If Carvalho is made as a make weight, what clubs out there are you looking at, and what players do those clubs have? There must be something in your head here if you're saying that to me.
Well, mine is the Newcastle thing. Is send him to Newcastle when you take Anthony Gordon.
Okay, right. Oh yeah, okay. Instead of them wanting quality, and then it's Gomez, now it's Carvalho. They just keep going until they get the most Salah.
It's another person who can play wide for them or can play as a 10. I think you get a lot of minutes for Newcastle. I also think their sort of crowd and the way they play actually would suit him. And I think he's the sort of player that would get crowds excited anyway. And I think he's guaranteed more game time at Newcastle than he is at Liverpool.
Okay, interesting. There's been, like I said, I read something yesterday actually, and it's again really curious, right? But it was like Liverpool are linked with the Valencia goalkeeper, the Georgian fella, Mamardashvili, I think is his name, something like that, right? I could have got that completely wrong, but you know the fella. He was really good in the Euros. And I was like, what? And then they're like, no, he's 23. They're going to sign him for 30 million. They're going to loan him to somebody for 2 years, and then they're going to bring him back, and that's probably when Alisson will leave, and he'll be number one and all. Are people just... Is this 4D chess Liverpool are trying to play, or are people just so bored that they go, oh, remember that Valencia keeper? Link him with Liverpool and just make up how they'll get him into the squad. Where are we on this one?
I have no idea. I mean, like, he impressed during the Euros. I think it's very easy to link impressive people from the Euros. Again, it's like that flavor of the month thing. But we do have a great goalkeeping department. Like, if you look at our keepers and, you know, like, you look at Kelleher, you look at Jaros's progression, like, it's, you know, it's world renowned, I think. You know, and if you wanted to train under Ali and some of these, you know, coaches, I get it, as, you know, if he wanted to do that. We don't have space for him in the squad currently. But I don't know. I mean, Liverpool and links are just a match made in heaven. And sometimes I feel like people just flip a coin and throw a Liverpool link next to someone's name for the hell of it.
They do. They absolutely do. Now, I have to say, I'm not against an idea of signing the keeper and going, listen, here's our insurance in 2 years' time. But Kev, I'm going to come to you because it's a Cork man playing in golf or in golf for Liverpool at the moment. I think he's been outstanding in the pre-season. I love nothing more than to hold on to him. I'm still of the belief that he's the first team goalkeeper for probably, and I mean this, 14 Premier League clubs. Keeping him might be a bit difficult because I just think he's really, really, really good, and he probably deserves to be number one somewhere else. But do these sort of links make you think Liverpool are planning for a future without Alisson and maybe even without Kelleher?
I'd be honest, if I'm Kelleher, I'm telling my agent, get me out of here now. He's played 10 Premier League games. He's 25. You, for all of what you said, and I agree with everything that you said, that he could play for virtually any club in the Premier League up to the top 5 or 6. He's played 10 games. And ultimately, at 25 years of age, it's not good enough. It's not enough. He has to go and play, and he should be the one instigating and pushing for this move. The fact that he's not, I find mind-boggling. But the flip side of it is, Mamardashvili is very, very good. Shawnee was saying he's the next one on the list. He's the next one after your Alissons, your Ter Stegens, Courtois. Shawnee rates him that highly. And I read an article that we're linking him to us for that fee, and then on to Bournemouth on loan for a couple of years, and that get him Premier League ready for when Alisson goes at the end of his contract. Well, what does that say to Caoimhín Kelleher?
That's what I'm saying.
Not only are you've been number 2 to Alisson Becker, we've now got his replacement, and you can fight it out with him when you're 27. Well, and you might have played 15 or 20 Premier League games by then.
I get that. But I think if there's any truth in this, what we're talking about, I think Kelleher's got on the way out. Because I think the most likely scenario here is if you're Simon, what did you say his name was? Let's call him Mick. Right?
Call him Mick Villy.
Mick Villy, right? Milli Vanilli, right? If you're signing Milli Vanilli, if there's any truth in Milli Vanilli, right? To me, it says, look, we know we're losing Kelleher. Okay, we're going to lose him. Alisson's under contract in 2027. But what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to say to ourselves, Alisson's still with us. We're going to put Jaros in there as his number 2. We're going to sign this guy. And when Alisson goes, which is more than likely in the next 2 years because they won't want to let him go for nothing, this guy is ready to come in and be the number 1 or challenge with Jaros. That's where I think it is. If there's anything,
I'll give you another option now. You sell Kelleher. Kelleher is sold. You bring in this guy. You send him to Bournemouth. You sign Neto from Bournemouth for a nominal fee as your backup keeper with Yaros, and Neto becomes your number 3. He becomes your Adrian. Yaros is your number 2.
Yeah, but Neto's not going to go from Bournemouth number 1 to number 3.
He's at that stage of his career now where he's not going to be making a move from Bournemouth to be a number 1 anywhere else, bar having a step down. He's already played for a big club. He was at Barcelona. He was a number 2 or number 3 at Barcelona.
He's 35, I think, as well.
Yeah, this could be his last chance of playing at a top club. The only disadvantage is that he's not English. Okay. So it takes up a non-homegrown slot in your squad. That's the disadvantage of having to sell Kelleher, irrespective of which way you cut it up. If you don't go out and sign a jobber English keeper or promote someone from the youth academy to be your number 3, you're losing the slot. And
yeah, but is Yaros not homegrown?
Yaros is 100%, but at the moment, Yaros is, Kelleher is, and Allison is not. So you're losing. You could potentially be losing a homegrown player, club-grown player in Grevin Kelleher, gaining one back in Yaros, but you still have to replace Adrian in the squad, and that non-homegrown spot that Adrian was taking up, you could have utilised that better elsewhere with an outfield player. You might end up having to utilise it with a jobber third choice keeper, or you trust Petaluga or Harvey Davis to be your number 3.
Yeah,
and we haven't seen Harvey Davis at all in this.
Yeah, I know, but let's be honest about it. Like, since Adrian became number 3 goalkeeper Liverpool, he's never fucking played. You know,
no, exactly. So that's the gamble you're looking to take.
Yeah, and it's pretty. You know, it's a low stakes gamble to take if you're number 3.
I agree with you.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
But look,
the second choice keeper is a low stakes gamble, though. I mean, my question would be: Are any of you comfortable with, you know, in this theoretical scenario, Jaros coming in for 10 games? Because that's what Kelleher has done repeatedly.
Yeah. The reason I'd have no problem with
the number of games for Champions League as well. So are you okay with that?
Yeah.
In this scenario?
He's done everything that's been asked of him as a goalkeeper. He's gone out on loan. He's won a league. He's won a league and cup double. He's been a backup at international level at the Euros. He's
still haven't seen enough of him. I don't think I've seen enough of him where I could turn around to you actually and 100% say I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with Kelleher because I've seen him play for Liverpool.
I feel like we're in a very weird, unique position right now where.
But are we
injured? Like he always gets injured.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, when I look at it, we are in a kind of unique situation where Allison, you know, gets an injury once a season. I think that's a bit harsh. I think he gets one in 1920, and I think he had one last year. Did he have one the year before as well? Right?
I think he's had one. I think he's had one every year. Maybe not a big one, but he's had something every year.
Yeah. So the thing is, you know, maybe you need, you know, if you're telling me Allison plays all the games next season, you're like, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? But maybe we're overthinking that link to that guy in Valencia. You know, the link to the left back in Argentina. You know, it's all a bit what if. You know, and maybe we get.
We are at the beginning.
Yeah, I know, and you know what? Maybe we'll get to the end of the summer. Allison is there, and so is Kelleher. The two left backs are there. You know,
I'm pretty sure we were having this conversation last year about Kelleher.
Oh, absolutely, we were. Absolutely, we were. And I think if we were having it last season, it's probably we're doubling down on it this season because of what happened in the season just gone. So it's a bit of a strange one. But if there's any truth in a goalkeeper coming in or being signed for loan, I would say it would probably trigger Kelleher leaving the club and Yaros comes in as number 2. It really is. But having said that, if that was the case and he were doing something, he would have started Yaros in the pre-season and given him more of it. You know, so it's a weird one to try read, but situations can change very, very, very quickly. I think that's us done. I think we've done a great job. We've renamed that fella Milli Vanilli, which I think is fantastic. We've made so much of a tweet that just said absolutely nothing, which I think we're absolutely amazing at doing that job. We've spoken about a lot of positions. We've spoken about a lot of players. We've thrown some out there. Some people in the chat have thrown out some too. But I'm going to let everybody go now. And we did do it in 45 minutes and 17 seconds we're at the minute. So I'd like a round of applause for everybody in the room, because these are all great. Because we're usually here in 25 minutes from now going, were we not meant to do 45? But no, we've stuck to our guns. We've absolutely stuck to our guns. Kev, anything else before we go?
Congratulations to Kelly Harrington. I was cheating during when you guys were talking out. I had it on another screen. My God, she was out of this world. Brilliant. Watched her semi-final, and it was a 2-1 fight. She lost the second round. This tonight against a fighter who she already only fought once and lost to was outstanding.
And is ranked one in the world.
Is ranked number 1 in the world, and Kelly Harrington just literally the head off her.
Boxed the head off her, as he say.
In the third round, she was laughing. She was just, this might be the end of my international career. What a way to go out. And outstanding Olympian. Arguably Ireland's greatest female Olympian. Outstanding athlete. Outstanding boxer.
Yeah, she is Ireland's greatest female Olympian. She is.
Yeah. I think Rashida could surpass her in her career, by the end of her career. But for now, Kelly is number 1.
Yep. Chris, anything else before we go?
Only that. It's been announced that Liverpool women are going to get 3 games at Anfield next season.
Nice. That's handy for you.
Handy for me. And I think they're doing a bit of an offer where you can buy one ticket is going to get access to all 3 games. I think it's like City, United, and the Derby. So nice. Good chance for people to get a chance to get to Anfield.
Yeah, they've done really well last season as well, so hopefully they build on that as well. Ashley, anything else before we go?
No, I'm just looking forward to seeing the team all back together for the first time, getting all the international guys back. So hopefully we have something to fill our time other than Ornstein tweets.
Yeah, exactly. Look, there's nothing worse than filling your time with fucking Ornstein tweets, let's be honest. What was I going to say? Yeah, Chris has reminded me there. So, as you know, in the description for this show, there is the link for our charities. You can donate through the GoFundMe link. Please do so if you can. We're trying to raise €10,000 for fan supporting food banks and the Lighthouse. Fan supporting food banks, you know all about them in Liverpool. The Lighthouse is a charity in Dublin that help out people that are struggling to make ends meet. €5,000 each is our target. We're going to keep going until we get to that, and that's no problem. If you can donate, absolutely do. If you can't, share it, all the usual. But in the description, there's also a link now to a Premier League Fantasy Football League. Okay? Now, this is Phil's baby. I'm helping him out with it. So if anything goes wrong, find Phil. I don't care how you fucking do it. Do not message me and go, can you ring Phil and ask him this? Because I'm not going to fucking ring him, right? Let's be honest. So, this is how it's going to work. We've put a link in there. It's a Revolut link. And what you do is, you click the Revolut link, you choose €20 and you press send. That sends it to Phil. When it's sent to Phil, you can then see that you've sent so much to Phil. And then you can send Phil a message with your email address and your team name that's in your Fantasy Premier League. He will then email you back with the league and the code for you to get into the league. And this is how the league is going to work. Out of that €20, €10 is going to go into the prize pot. €10 is going to go to the Laura Lynn Hospice. So we get 100 people playing this. That'll be €2,000 in total. 1,000 for winnings and 1,000 for charity. It's a winner takes all. There's no 4th, 2nd, 3rd. It's €1,000. If we get 100 players, it's €1,000. If we get 200 players, it's €2,000. And so on and so forth. There's no 4th, 2nd, and 3rd. Whoever is the best at the Fantasy Premier League next season will win whatever is in the pot come the start of the season. We're hoping to get 100 people involved because that'll be €1,000 for charity and €1,000 for the winner. So the Revolut link is there. Okay? If you have any difficulty and you don't use Revolut, okay, email us. You can email us, talkinkop1@gmail.com, and we will give you our PayPal details. You can send €20 to our PayPal with your team name and your email address. And what we will do is we will forward that on to Phil to put into the pot, and he will send you back the link for the league and the code. That's how it's going to work. It's a private league. only people that pay will get in. So if you pass the code on to your mates, don't worry about it. Phil's weird. He'll check the list every day. He'll check it twice like Santi does. And then he'll fuck you out if you haven't paid. Okay? So that's how it's going to work. Look, it's 20 quid across the whole season. You're given to charity, and like you said, it's a winner takes all. So if you can help out, the link is in that description. If you don't have Revolut and you want to use PayPal, because PayPal's, you know, a lot more international than Revolut, or, well, not really, but some people don't use Revolut. A lot of people use your access to PayPal. You can email us, we'll give you the details, and we'll go from there, and we'll get you sorted. But get on board, get your fancy football app open, get your team together, register the name with the whole lot. Throw 20 quid to Phil, and you know you're helping charity at the same time. It's a really good idea. And yeah, it'll be the crack, because you'll be able to see loads of people that watch this show being involved. I think Phil will jump in. I don't do fancy football, but I'm going to throw 20 quid in anyway. I'm just going to put a team in at the start, and if they're all fucking injured, if they all do their cruise shit on the first weekend of the season, I won't win, but I don't care, because I won't change the team. So that's how we're going to do it. If you want, get involved. It's a really good way to help the charities, to help Laura Lynn, and it's a good way to just to keep that interest going. And you know how the bragging rights go when it comes to fancy football. So I'm going to get Kev, Chris, Ashley, everybody involved here. Anybody that does the podcast with us, I'm going to get them all involved. And I'm going to tell me, because you know yourself, when you tell your mates, or I'm in this league and you can win such and such, everyone piles in. And that's what we want. If we could get 500 people in, it'd be amazing. But we won't. But if we could, the more, the merrier. So that's how it works. And as I said, the link is there in the description for you to do and sort it out. That has been it. We'll hopefully be back tomorrow night. I actually got an idea from a show off somebody in our Telegram group today, and I might do it tomorrow night. I'm going to have a little bit of more of a look into it, and we'll sort it out. So that'll be tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And we will be back tomorrow night. Not too sure about the rest of the week, but the football is very, very fast approaching, so that's good as well. Everyone's asking about Matt. What's going on with Matt? Matt's living in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? In some vortex, right? And he's literally sitting in his ma's kitchen going, this internet is deplorable, and it is. So what he's trying to do is, God love him, he's trying to change his phone plan to up his 5G, to do the shows via his phone. And in the meantime, to solve the problem, which is incredible, he's trying to buy a house. He's like, right, the only thing I can think of to solve this internet problem is buy a house in the city. So he's spending millions of Canadian dollars trying to move into the cities from the prairies or wherever he lives. And he lives next door to the Waltons. But he's trying to get away from the Waltons. And we're trying to get him back on as well. And I'm contacting everybody this week that's been on the show over the last 12 months, letting them know that we're back full steam ahead next week and the week after. And then you'll see more and more faces coming on shows as the season starts and progresses. That has been the Talkin Kop. Thanks again to everyone for watching and listening. Like, subscribe, comment, become a member, all that sort of stuff. And we'll talk to you soon. Over and out.